Why, hello everyone. Let's talk ladies and basketball. And let's talk with a lady, even though she's not a lady, she's like AI or something. But I I wanted to go over WNBA in tonight's podcast here on Sunday night, May 28th, because it's the last algorithm I've done this recently. I like to have one for every major sport so that anytime anyone asks me for predictions on any sport, I just like, here's the algorithm. Sometimes it takes me 15 minutes to update, sometimes more, sometimes less. WNBA is pretty easy to update, and we're going to go through the process right now because I got asked, you're going to send me an email every day for the season? No, no, absolutely not. I'm going to send you the file, and I'm going to send you emails for about a week, and I'm going to show you how you update it in a couple videos, and then you're going to be on your own. What you need is you need a subscription to RotoWire. I just paid them and renewed for a year. It was like $90 or something. That's fine. I use it enough, obviously, to update sports that I don't mind paying them. They do a great job and they cover a lot of different sports. And as you'll see, they have little kinks and things that they do with certain sports because they track so many different things. So we'll talk about what they have for WNBA because it's not everything we really could harness for sure, but it's enough. And we're going to talk about results for the day. We're going to talk about everything. So, first of all, you guys are taking me away from stocks. I'd rather be working on stocks, but the market's closed. The market's closed. So we'll talk about the straddler algorithm for stocks at the end of the video, maybe. But let's talk more about WNBA. So there were 3 games today, and one of them may still be going on. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to ask some AI here. Hey, okay. Hey, Bing AI, can you give me the scores of the WNBA games from today, Sunday, May 28th?
Searching for WNBA scores May 28th, 2023. Sure. Here are the scores of the WNBA games from Sunday, May 28th, 2023. Indiana Fever versus Atlanta Dream. Indiana Fever won with score 90 and Atlanta Dream lost with score 87.
Ooh, that's a miss.
Dallas Wings versus Chicago Sky. Dallas Wings lost with score 88 and Chicago Sky won with score 94.
Wow.
Minnesota Lynx versus Las Vegas Aces. Minnesota Lynx has score 53 and Las Vegas Aces has score 73. I hope that helps.
Yeah, this game is not over. But that's not good. That's not good today. Only the Aces managed to win, the Dream lose, and the Wings lose. And here we had an underdog. And other than the injury factor here, there was no other reason to think that they would lose. So here's what we're going to do. We have something here called stat variables. I don't know what these should be, and I have built algorithms to test them. But basically what this does is you have the option of choosing like just one category, for example, and then going back and refresh, and everyone's power and strength and stuff is going to change. And orders are going to change and stuff. So you want to figure out if any of these factors were actually good. Was rebounds a good determinant of who won on Sunday? No, it looks like it just wanted to miss a lot of these games. How about blocks? Blocks is always a funny one. Yeah, here you at least get the Chicago Sky winning. I found that doing NBA that blocks was actually a sneaky good one. So let's do that where we throw a whole lot on blocks and then everything else gets like 10% or something. Doesn't have to add up to 100, but I mean, steals will give 5, I guess. Put 5 there. See what that does. Good. It puts the Chicago Sky over the Dallas Wings. So we just made some enhancements and some changes basically to change the distribution because I wanted to get this game right at least. And while the Atlanta Dream apparently lose a game by 3 and get outscored, they did have a little injury here. So somebody was out. So, all right, that's better. All right. So that's kind of how you go and you change the stat variables to do some stuff. All right. So that's part of updating the file every day. If you want to make this thing better, is testing out different percentages. And we'll see how that does tomorrow. Now, speaking of tomorrow, we can actually prepare that. And we're going to do that. So one thing you can do to update is you go to the injury report and you grab the CSV. And when you download it, you're not going to see the screen on the screen record here. You're not going to see the actual CSV open up, but you'll trust that I opened it up, and I'll show you where you're going to paste it in the main file here. So that Excel file comes out, you copy all the names, and WNBA, not nearly as many teams as NBA. So it's a shorter list, and we're going to get rid of the stock algorithm. It goes right here in the injury sheet. That's how you do it. And now all of a sudden you have injuries, and then you refresh the injury pivot table. Interesting. So nobody's out for tomorrow's games, it looks like. So that's going to screw up the health numbers. It's okay. All right. So the next thing you do after you've done the injury report is you can go to sports betting, and we can start to see if there are games for tomorrow. Being Memorial Day, I'm guessing there are going to be games. So here you have odds, and if you want to show a date, you can type in the date of the 29th, and if they have anything for those games, there are no games for the 29th. How about the 30th? Okay, there's games, but there's no odds. So we're going to grab this, and I just want to show you how you set this up, because we're going to get predictions for these games that don't have any odds yet. So you grab the odds there, and then you paste them in the odds compiler right here. And what we're doing is we're going to build out the entire season's worth of games in the odds compiler, meaning we're going to make this thing hundreds of rows wrong. Not wrong, but long. We're going to make them hundreds of rows long. And that way, whenever we do get some actual lines for these games, which we don't have, but we're putting in like a minus 110 just to show you what they might be. Now, what you can do is you have this, everything's like kind of connected now. So you already have some predictions, even though there's some more updating you need to do. This is for the day of 5:30. Okay, so this is Tuesday, May 30th, it looks like. So it already does predictions, and you could go and you could refresh, and you would get your predictions already for the 30th for these 4 games. And it shows you the margins that the team would win by and what the potential scores would be with our new distribution, right? But no lines on these games yet, so we don't know. So that's how you do it. But there's some other things you actually need to update it to get it more accurate. And that involves going to the player stats and the team stats, which are also pretty easy to get from RotoWire. I mean, I'll probably put the links in here, but you go back to fantasy sports, it's the WNBA, it's the stats area. And you go and you grab this stat right here. And then you do the team stats as well. And this will give you the team stat one. And that ends up being these 2 that we're going to add in. And this is the really all you have to do to keep this file up to date. It's pretty awesome. It's really, really easy to do. Like this one, I would never get super frustrated about updating this thing. Doesn't do all that much. So you go to the team stat sheet and you just paste that right here over this area. And then you go to the player stat sheet where we're going to have our player ratings, which is a good way to kind of sum up this video, because that's about the rest. That's basically the tutorial. It's going to be after you get the player stats in there, which we're going to show right now. Right here, cell E3, going to paste over the other player stat data. You've got different scores, like who does this thing think the best player is? Because it's doing a bunch of different percentages. I put a lot on points. Maybe I should put more on blocks, because we find blocks to be kind of a cool stat. Put that down to like 25 or something. To 15% rebounds, or I don't know. 10, whatever. I like to keep the ranking at 100% total. It's just easier. So who do we think the best ranked player is in here? Brianna Stewart. Then Natasha Howard, then Brittany Griner, back from prison in Russia. Right? Those are the ones that it thinks are the best. And when we just updated this and updated this distribution, guess what? This is going to change too. Not much, actually, but it should have. Depending on what the player distribution was. Or actually, sorry, you know what's going to show is going to show the injury report, which nobody's injured. It's going to show whether or not they're an impactful player. This is the other way that the players are ranked, as it shows in the pivot here. Yeah, the ranking of the players on the team. It's pretty cool. But nobody's really out for some reason. Why is that? Some of these people are out, but none of them are playing, I guess. All the other teams that are playing are like somebody on the sky was out, right? Yeah. Why isn't this person showing as out? That's interesting, right? Chicago Sky are playing, and I'm not, because basically the injury is supposed to pop up here. Why doesn't it have the out? I don't get it. Double check one thing is this is weird. So we have an injury report. We have the word out. We have a P score related to the player, but the player is not in here. So where's the player? She exists? She does. She's out. What the heck? Weird. What's going on here? Let's check our data source range. Is a player range. Yeah, I mean, this looks right. How odd. I don't understand this. There should be an interest. Do we have okay, we don't have the word out. Jesus, God damn. All right, sorry. Yeah, that's a good thing I fixed that. So this needs to show, and I'm gonna make a slicer for this because that was too screwed up. So injury, is it this? No, it's not this one. So basically we're creating a slicer for what this is. Can we create a slicer off of this? No, we need to go up here and we need to grab the injury status of Al. All right, now it'll show you what the possible injury statuses are so that this pivot table looks correct. Gosh, darn it. So it wasn't including the word out. So that was actually screwed up from yesterday too. Good thing we found this problem in this video. It's what happens when I spend time with the algorithms. We learn something new. So basically, you want to look at this status up here and you want to have it showing who's out and their impact on the game. Because now it's going to show properly under the health number, which is an error. Yes. Okay, good. Jeez. All right. So now we're going to have scores that may have changed slightly. If you look at the health score is shown right here. Get different ranges of scores depending on the health of the team, as shown right here. And when you look back at what this outdated injury report when it comes to Tuesday's games, because you don't know who's actually going to be playing on Tuesday, but you can see that the Sparks are missing a ton, somebody huge with an illness. Yeah, like is COVID going through LA or something? Like what is going on? 3 big people apparently out on the Sparks. And did that happen today? When was their last game? It was today, wasn't it? No. It was this day. And you can see their health was bad. So there was a problem there. Interesting. All right. Well, I hope that helped you understand how basically this is compiled, which is there's an injury report that's pretty interesting to set up. It affects your health numbers that you're seeing here. And these are important because injuries are really big in basketball. That is something I've learned from doing all different types of college basketball, NBA, and of course WNBA now. So this is something to watch out for. It makes Dallas, I guess, an even stronger pick because Minnesota has some people out, and it makes Chicago not as strong of a pick right now against the Dream. And we don't know any lines on these games yet. I made up those lines, so you got to repaste the lines when they actually come out because it really looks like this, and there are no lines. But yeah, that's how you do it. You do the injury report, you do the odds right here, make sure it's all connected to the cube. You put the day, what day we're talking about in the cube. Then you don't have to glance at this every time. You can just leave it if it's working. You got your player stats you bring in, and then you get your team stats that you bring in. And that is it, everybody. And that's WNBA. Pretty easy to use. You can buy it for $100. Follow the link in the description. Enjoy your WNBA. I'm going to go back to analyzing stocks because that's where I think the real money is. And this is just more for fun and people that follow sports, just in case you ever want to know who's supposed to win. Algorithms usually can tell you. All right, good luck. May all your picks be winning and your women be dunking, swooshing.